Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a Adafruit TFT display, and we're going to 3D print a bezel for it. This is a shield type of TFT display. It's not necessarily ideal for what I'm using it for, but I'm going to end up making it work. Shield type just mounts right onto an Arduino. This is a 256 meg Arduino Mega 2560, I believe it is. I'll put the links to the components in the video description. Let me show you what I got going here, and I'll show you the bezel, and then I'll mount it to the control panel. So let me connect this up. Give me a second here. All right, go ahead and plug it in. There we go. Okay, this is a little display that I built for a project I'm working on. I call it a TV actuator. And it just raises and lowers my TV. It moves it out of the wall and drops it down when I go to watch it. And then when you shut it off, it goes back up above the fireplace. So there's I've created this display library actually with through the Adafruit Arduino libraries, and if there's interest, I'll make it available. But we have a home screen tab and we have a jog tab, and the idea is I can manually control this with the buttons. I don't have it completely wired up, but the touch screen is working. The library that I've created is real simple. It's just a few commands to show a button, and it automatically wires it up to the touch. So you don't have all those, if-else type statements to try to do a hit test. It's built in. So let's turn this on. The idea of the auto mode is my home theater receiver sends out a 12-volt signal when it's turned on, and I'll use that to determine whether to raise or lower the TV actuator. So that's enough about that. Let's take a look at the bezel. Let me unplug this. The bezel right here. It's just 3D print it. We'll look at that in a minute. A real simple thing. It's got some threaded holes in it in the back. Next we'll look at the guide. This is used to cut the hole out in the panel. Here's what the bezel looks like. Let's open 360 and take a look at the TFT bezel and guide. So here's the bezel, and here's the back side of it. It's got a little step on it. Let me show you how we model that real quick. We just start with a it's probably 49, but I made it slightly bigger. When you 3D print it, sometimes it shrinks slightly. So it's 50 wide by 69.5. And then the outer dimension, I've just made it 90 by 70. This is in millimeters. So what we're going to do next is we just extrude that out a little bit. Let's see how much I extruded it here. It's 4 millimeters. All right. So this thickness, the 4 millimeters, the glass sits up in here, and then down at the bottom, this is where the circuit board is for the TFT display. So we're just making it wide enough that this part of it will sit on the circuit board, because we want to push the circuit board down when we screw the bezel in. So next, after we do that, we look at the second sketch. Now the second sketch is this outer part. The overall dimensions are the same, but it's got a little step in it here. Okay, and so this allows the circuit board, the width of the circuit board, to fit up in here. So this is the inner part here is the glass screen, and this is the circuit board. So there's enough of a little edge, a little lip here. It'll hold down the circuit board up against the control panel. And then next, what do we got here? All right, let's take a look at sketch number 3. So we're just adding threaded holes. They're 3mm M3 holes. And then lastly, on the front side, we're doing a fillet on the front side all the way around it, just to make it look a little nicer. Well, that's about it for that. So let's go back to the camera and take a look at that part. This is the TV actuator. We're not really going to cover that today. Save that for another video. Here's the control panel, and we're going to mount the TFT display over here on this edge. And let me walk around and we'll take a look at that. So we're just going to mount it right about here. Well, the first thing we'll do is we'll kind of eyeball where we want it. That should be pretty good. So I'll make a line on top here and use a little square here. All right. We'll use a couple of these, couple of clamps here. I'm going to pre-drill with a number 30 bit. See that? I think what I'm going to do is drill the corners first. Next we're going to use this tool, which I forgot the name. Well, I think that's got it. Maybe a little cleanup with a file or utility knife, and should be it. Go ahead and mount this now. All right. We'll get those back screws in later. They're a little bit tough. That turns out pretty clean though. Try to get the camera in focus. That looks pretty good. All right, let's take a quick look at the TFT library. This is for a touchscreen. It's the Adafruit library that I'm leveraging, and also the Touch.Screen library from Adafruit as well. What I've done is I've written this particular library here. So one of the things I don't like to do as a programmer is I don't really want to manual hit test everything when I touch the screen. I want a UI handler called to let me know that something's been selected or hit. The library that I've created, what it does is it handles all the hit testing. All you do is define the item. It'll call your handler. So let me explain a little bit about how this works. So you just define the touchscreen library and define an instance of the TFT library, and then you go ahead and pass that into what I call the UI component manager library. And so you do that as a global, and then during setup what you're going to do is define a panel item. A panel item essentially is the tab. We have a home tag and a jog tab. And the home tab, we just add some text, and then I've created a toggle button here, and it toggles on and off and maintains its state. So for the second tab, we add a second panel called the jog, and for my particular usage, this is just for manual controlling of the TV actuator, up, down, in and out. We just add a button. We give it some IDs and position, etc., what the colors are. The last thing we do is we call the initialize method, and this specifies the mode, the display mode of the TFT display. There's 4 different modes. This one is one of the landscape modes. There's 2 landscape modes. I'm using one of them. What's the background, and then here's the callback. All right, so everything we've defined here in terms of the buttons or clickable items, they're given a unique ID, and right up here is our callback handler, and it passes in an object, and you can access the object directly if you wanted to change a color, for example, or manipulate that object something. For example, you could hide it. But we're also passing in the ID. So for this simple demo, we're just showing that it's been clicked. The library automatically will redraw the items for you based on the selected tab. So as far as the loop, all we do is call a single item here through the loop, and it's just checking if things have been touched. But all right, I'm going to go. You can't really see me here, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch tabs. So I'll click on the tab, and it says if I hit off screen, not over a tab, it just says tabs not hit. But what you're not seeing is it's redrawing either the auto mode or the jog with the 4 buttons. So I'm in jog mode now, and let me just clear the screen, and you'll be able to see I'm hitting the upper button right now. Let's see which one that's looks like 13. I hit the lower button. It's 14. I hit the left button. 11 and the right button. And if you hold them down, they'll repeat. There's a little bit of a delay, but if I don't hit a button, it shows up with that tab message, which is probably not ideal. I can fix that though. So I'm going to hold down the left button. There we go. So that's about it. But I find this is a lot easier to rather than having my loop code polluted with a bunch of hit tests and determining which button and everything. I'm separating the UI functionality from the functionality of operation, running the stepper motors, things like that. and I find it's a lot cleaner. So anyway, if you're interested in the library, leave a comment, let me know, and I'll post it up to the Arduino forum. Thanks for watching.